Hello, my name is Jordan. I'm a community health worker from UNC Health conducting a research study about healthy food and high blood pressure. Your participation in this study is completely voluntary. This means that you do not have to participate in this survey unless you want to. You have already had an eligibility call or completed an eligibility form, so I will not repeat those questions. Instead, I'll just give you some important information to help you decide whether you want to participate in this study and let you ask questions of me. The purpose of this research study is to look at healthy food and high blood pressure. We estimate that approximately 1,400 people will enroll in this study. How long will your part in this study last? You will be in this study for about 18 months.
What will happen if you take part in this study? After we're finished reviewing this form, you will decide if you would like to join the study. If yes, you will give verbal consent over the phone. If you decide to participate, you will complete your first questionnaire over the phone. You will answer questions about things like what you eat, what types of activities you do, and other questions about your health. This should take about 20 minutes. After you complete this questionnaire, a computer program will randomly assign you, like flipping a coin, to receive one of the study options. There are 8 different variations of these, and you will be assigned to one. The programs vary in 3 key ways, and I will describe those to you. After you are assigned to a program, you will receive a call from a member of the study team to tell you which program you're in, give you more details, and go over next steps.
Variation 1, food subsidy versus food box. The first variation for the program is whether you will receive a food subsidy or a food box. If you're assigned to the food subsidy group, you will be given $40 that can be spent at any Food Lion supermarket each month to purchase fruits and vegetables. If you're assigned to the food box group, you'll receive a home delivery of healthy food every 2 weeks, and this will include fresh produce and shelf-stable foods like oils and spices.
Variation 2, 6 months versus 12 months. The next variation is about the duration of the program. If you're assigned to the 6-month group, you will receive the program for 6 months, and if you're assigned to the 12-month group, you will receive it for 12 months.
Variation 3, community health worker. The last variation is whether you will work with a community health worker or not. Making changes for a healthy lifestyle can be difficult. If you're assigned to a community health worker group, you will work with that person to help. They will offer assistance like advice on following a healthy diet, cooking tips, and connect you to other resources in the community that might help improve your health. You will have monthly telephone calls with a community health worker lasting about 45 to 60 minutes, and a brief follow-up call after that. If you're not assigned to the community health worker group, you will still receive the same food program, but will not work with a community health worker. To sum everything up, everyone gets one of the food programs. Some will get it for 6 months and some for 12 months, and some of them will get calls from a community health worker.
Follow-up telephone visits for us to learn about your experience. You will have 4 telephone visits. You will be asked to complete a questionnaire 4 times over the course of this study. Each time should take about 20 minutes. There is a small chance that some of the questions may make you feel uncomfortable. You don't have to answer those questions if you don't want to. In fact, you don't have to answer any question that you choose not to answer, and that's fine. We will just skip that question and go on to the next one. The first will be after we complete the consent process. The second, 6 months after you start the study. The third will be about 12 months after you start the study. The fourth will be about 18 months after you start the study. Each time, you will be called and asked to answer questions over the phone. This call will take about 20 minutes. You will receive $10 each time you complete one of these follow-up visits. The follow-up visits are the same regardless of what group you are in.
Qualitative interviews. Some study participants will be selected to complete more in-depth telephone interviews about their experience with the program. These are completely optional, and whether you do them or not will not affect your participation in the rest of the study. These interviews will be recorded so we can analyze them, but information from them will only be shared in aggregate, so it's not in a way that can identify you. These interviews would take about 30 minutes, and you would receive $20 for completing one.
What are the possible benefits from being in this study? Research is done to gain new knowledge. By being in this study, you may have more access to healthier foods and better blood pressure control. These are not guaranteed benefits. What are the possible risks or discomforts involved from being in this study? There are a few risks and discomforts involved with being in this study. Overall, we think there is very little risk to you from the food, money to buy food, or dietary advice given as part of the program. People may have allergic reactions to foods. For known allergies, food suppliers will have up-to-date food allergy training as required in North Carolina, and we will work with the food suppliers to ensure potential allergens are appropriately labeled. Please check labels for potential allergens and do not consume foods with those allergens. It is possible that you might have a food allergy that you are unaware of. Overall, we think this risk would be no greater for having taken part in the study than if you did not take part. You may choose to lose weight as part of this program. If you do not eat enough, you could lose weight too fast. Doing more physical activity is not the main focus of this study. However, we do recommend you do moderate physical activity. Those who increase their level of physical activity may experience minor muscle pain. This is common, affecting more than 50 in 100 people. Minor muscle pain will go away. This type of activity rarely, less than 1 in 100, causes serious health problems, such as chest pain. Changing how you eat could lead to lower blood pressure. Blood pressure that's too low can cause dizziness and even falls. It's very rare that this could be a serious risk, less than 1 in 100 people. Typically, the blood pressure is lowered slowly. This will allow your doctor time to observe the lower blood pressure and reduce any blood pressure medicine you may be taking. In all studies, there is a very slight chance of loss of privacy. This means the risk that others may see your study information. As we describe in more detail below, we will do all we can to make sure this does not happen. Also, there may be other risks we did not list here, including uncommon or previously unknown risks. You should report to the research team any problems that may be due to this study.
How will information about you be protected? The results of your study surveys and interviews will be stored with your study ID number and your first and last initial. We call this coded data. No one other than our study staff will be able to connect your name and study ID, as we will follow standard procedures to protect the privacy of research data. For this study, we also need to access your electronic health record data held at UNC. This will enable us to look at your blood pressure, medications, and similar information important for the study. To do this, after we complete this consent form, we will also read you a HIPAA authorization form that enables us to look at this information. If you do not wish to provide this authorization, you will not be able to participate in the study. Your study information will only be shared among study team members. Team members are both at UNC and Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, and all will have undergone training about protecting information safely and respecting the rights of research participants.
Your name, contact information, and any food allergies will be shared with companies that manage food box or subsidy delivery. These third parties are not affiliated with UNC, and once that specified information is disclosed to the third parties, it is possible that they may use the information according to their own policies and/or procedures. We may use your coded data, as described above, in future research without additional consent. However, in some cases, the Institutional Review Board, called the IRB and described in a moment, may require that you be recontacted and asked for your consent or permission to use your data in a specific research study. You have the right at that future time not to participate in any research study for which your consent is sought. When writing reports or publishing articles, participants will not be identified by name. Although every effort will be made to keep research records private, there may be times when federal or state law requires the disclosure of such records, including personal information. This is very unlikely, but if disclosure is ever required, UNC Chapel Hill will take steps allowable by law to protect the privacy of personal information. In some cases, your information in this research study could be reviewed by agents of the university or research sponsors for purposes such as quality control or safety.
What if we learn about new findings or information during the study? You will be given any new information gained during the study that might affect your willingness to continue participating. Will it cost you anything to be in the study? It will not cost you anything to be in the study. Who is sponsoring this study? This research is funded by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. This means that the study is paid for by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Blue Cross NC wants to help members gain access to healthy food to better understand how it may improve overall health and how Blue NC should improve benefits in the future. Your decision to participate or not will have no impact on your insurance coverage or care provided. External site principal investigator Lori Taylor, the senior program manager on the Drivers of Health team of Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, and co-investigator Aiko Hattori, data scientist of Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina, will evaluate the effectiveness of the food insecurity interventions in this study. If you'd like more information, please ask the researchers listed in the first page of this form.
Study withdrawal. Changes that preclude us from collecting data, such as changes in healthcare provider or health insurance, may result in withdrawal from this study. What if you have questions about this study? You have the right to ask and have answered any questions you may have about this research. A description of this clinical trial will be available on www.clinicaltrials.gov as required by U.S. law. This website will not include information that can identify you. At most, the website will include a summary of the results. You can search this website at any time.
What if you have questions about your rights as a research participant? All research on human volunteers is reviewed by a committee called the Institutional Review Board, or the IRB. This committee works to protect your rights and welfare. If you have questions or concerns about your rights, would like more information, or have suggestions, please contact them. You can call the Institutional Review Board at 919-966-3113, or you can email them at irb_subjects@unc.edu.
Now that you have agreed to participate in the study, we need to discuss HIPAA authorization. This is a permission called a HIPAA authorization. It is required by the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, known as HIPAA, in order for us to get information from your medical records or health insurance records to use in this research study.
If you agree to this HIPAA authorization form, you are given your permission for the following people or groups to give the researchers certain information about you as described below. Any healthcare providers or healthcare professionals or health plans that have provided health services, treatment, or payment for you, such as physicians, clinics, hospitals, home health agencies, diagnostic centers, laboratories, treatment or surgical centers, including but not limited to the UNC healthcare system and its members and affiliates, collectively UNC, HCS, health insurance plans, and government health agencies.
If you agree to this form, this is the information about you that the people or groups listed may give to the researchers to use in this research study. Any information in your medical records that relates to your participation in this research. These records might include information about mental health, drug or alcohol use, HIV/AIDS or other communicable diseases, or genetic testing. Other information includes blood pressure measurements, emergency department visits, and inpatient hospitalizations.
The HIPAA protections that apply to your medical records will not apply to your information when it is in the research study records. Your information in the research study records may also be shared with, used by, or seen by collaborating researchers, the sponsor of the research study, the sponsor's representatives, and certain employees of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, or other affiliated entities conducting the research, or government agencies like the FDA if needed to oversee the research study. HIPAA rules do not usually apply to those people or groups. If any of these people or groups reviews your research record, they may also need to review portions of your original medical record relevant to the situation. The informed consent document describes the procedures in this research study that will be used to protect your personal information. You can also ask the researchers any questions about what they will do with your personal information and how they will protect your personal information in this research study. If study participant payments are described in the consent form, payments may be paid through a partner financial institution or its vendor. By participating in this study, you authorize the disclosure of limited protected health information to a financial institution or its vendor to facilitate such payments or for tax reporting purposes.
If this research study creates medical information about you that will go into your medical record, you may not be able to see the research study information in your medical record until the entire research study is over. If you want to participate in this research study, you must sign this HIPAA authorization form to allow the people or groups listed on this form to give access to the information about you that is also listed. If you do not want to sign this HIPAA authorization form, you cannot participate in this research study. However, not signing the authorization form will not change your right to treatment, payment, enrollment, or eligibility for medical services outside of this research study.
This HIPAA authorization will not stop unless you stop it in writing. You have the right to stop this HIPAA authorization at any time. You must do that in writing. You may give your written stop of this HIPAA authorization directly to a principal investigator or researcher. You may mail it to the department mailing address that's listed at the top of this form, or you may give it to one of the researchers in this study and tell the researcher to send it to any person or group the researcher has given a copy of this HIPAA authorization. Stopping this HIPAA authorization will not stop information sharing that has already happened. You will be given a copy of this HIPAA authorization.
Thank you for talking through the consent process with me. Someone from the study team will be in touch with you to complete the consent process. If you have any questions, please reach out to the study team. Our contact information is listed below.